I'm going to post it. It's going to be up in 1 second. All right, good. We are in. Now this charger is my favorite thing in the entire world. I'm able to get
this one out. It's a piece of cake. Yeah. Trust me. Yes. Otherwise, what is my early.
You know what? The other night, the guy and I didn't have an idea.
Very good. They stay on the not to be saying you left sure what it is. You got to track him down.
Begin by thanking the Chmani family, Rabin, Yunin Homishbach for sponsoring the Shiurim, Leil Nishmas, his father Avinoam ben Chaim, Shamash Aliyah, Reb Simcha Nachas and Drachim. We began learning last week. I didn't forget about the conversation. We're getting to it, but we began learning L'Kavod Chanukah, this mimer from the Slonim Rebbe, the Darchei Noam, you should be well. and I want to won't finish the entire mimer, but what we began. Finish what we began, at least the most important part, and again to our avoda in this chabur of Yosef HaTzadik. This entire tkufa, this whole time, post Chanukah, is a time where you feel more than any other time of the year the inyan of Yavin. Of course, Asar B'Tevis is the translation of the Torah into Yavanis that brought darkness to the world, that only compounded the darkness that Yavin brought from its beginning. And what we were learning last week is the strange chazal that tells us of this bizarre gzeira that the Yavanim made, that the Jews should engrave on the Karen Hashar, all owners of an ox should engrave, Ein lanu chelik b'Elokei Yisrael. We don't have a chelik b'Elokei Yisrael. And the Rambam doesn't bring that down. The Gemara doesn't bring it down. It's not in our davening, when we daven about all the gzeiros that took place at that time, and our milchama with Yavin. What kind of a gzeira is it anyway? It's strange. The horn of an ox. What's the meaning of the ox? What's the meaning of the Karen? And what we were learning last week is that this, of course, is a very, very, very deep remez to the koach hashar of Yosef HaTzadik. That ability of Yosef HaTzadik in Mitzrayim to be able to, vayonos v'yetz achutza, to be able to overcome that tumah of Eshes Potiphar. So the Darchinom is explaining that Karen means strength, it means pride, it means glory. The Shar is Yosef HaTzadik, the Chor Shar Hadala, because Yosef HaTzadik is the Shar. Therefore, Koach HaShar, the strength of the ox, which you know that's a very powerful animal, Rav Tulas B'Koach Shar, the strength of the ox, is the midah, in a Jew, is the midah of Kedusha. Because when a person is connected to Yosef HaTzadik, when a person is tapping into that Koach HaShar, then everything else in his Yiddishkeit is filled with masikas, with clarity. Not just in his Yiddishkeit, Bechlal. His Simchas Echayim, his marriage. Everything is depending upon this Koach HaShar. To be able to feel that aura of the Karen of Yosef HaTzadik, because through that a person feels, I have a chelik b'Elokei Yisrael. On the other hand, if you have a Jew that's davening and he does mitzvahs and he's learning, but the only thing in his life that's missing is Yosef HaTzadik, all of his learning is weak. Meaning it might be intellectually he's strong, but it's not with Hashem. It's davening, for sure. It's without chiyus, without excitement. His mitzvahs, even his ben Olam Chavero, his marriage. So, this gzeira was not another legal enactment of the Greeks to prevent us from keeping this mitzvah, Shabbos, or Chodesh, or Bris Milah. It was to get to the very root of who a Jewish male is. Not the women, that's something else. To get to the root of a Ben Yisrael. And at the root of a Ben Yisrael is this unbelievable longing to have this connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the midah of Yisrael, which depends upon living a life of Kedusha, of holiness, of Yosef HaTzadik. And when that light, when that Koach HaShor of Yosef HaTzadik is not there, then everything is dark. Then all the Gzeir, then Mishkan Shabbos, Chodesh, learning, and even if you have a Bris Milah, but the Bris Milah is not with Shmiras HaBris, not with Kedushas HaBris, you don't feel that pride of being a Jew, everything is affected by this. So on page Samach Tes, if you have it on your phone, if you printed it out, Samach Tes, we just started the last paragraph on page Samach Tes. Mikoch midas hakadusha zoiche Yehuda l'tamur uki toiv Hashem. Tamur uki toiv Hashem. To be able to taste toiv Hashem. Many years ago, when we were learning, we had a chabur, we were learning in the mornings the Sefer HaMitzvos, the Rambam. A few of you were there. So we were learning the Sefer HaMitzvos, and we learned the mitzvah of Anei Hashem L'Kecha. And everybody knows that there's a very famous machlokes Rishonim about whether or not the mitzvah of Emunah is counted in the cheshbon of the Teag mitzvahs. It's Rambam and Ramban. It's the Al-Halachas Gedolos, the Bahag. It's a very big tumult by the Rishonim. Do we count Emunah as one of the 613 mitzvahs? So if you would ask any kid in yeshiva, should Emunah be one of the 613 mitzvahs? Any kid would say, what do you mean? It's the biggest mitzvah. To believe in Hashem is the biggest mitzvah. Of course, it's one of the Teag mitzvahs. So what's the svara of the Ramban that it's not to count it as one of the 613? The Rambam does. What's the svara not to count it as one of the 613 mitzvahs? So we spoke for weeks and weeks about this, and everybody is familiar with this machlokes. Emunah is not another one of the 613 mitzvahs, as important as these 613 mitzvahs. Emunah is the precondition, the prerequisite to being a person who sees himself b'chlal as being in the parsha of a bar mitzvah, as somebody who's a mitzvah. In other words, if you don't have Emunah, the rest of the list makes no sense at all. What's the point of tefillin? What's the point of shofar? What's the point of Shabbos? There's no point to anything. So the svara not to count it, which is the Bahag, the svara, as the Ramban explains, the svara not to count it is not because it's not a mitzvah. It's that which makes every mitzvah relevant. It's that which makes every mitzvah real. It's that which makes a mitzvah something which you feel you're mitzvah in that mitzvah. So what the Dachanom is explaining is that the Greeks understood that Kedusha is not on the list. Kedusha's Habris is not on the list. And all of us who grew up in yeshiva don't remember our Rebbeim talking about that or teaching it. We don't remember seeing any svarim on this subject. So what were the Yevanim onto? What's the Choshech of Yavan? The Choshech of Yavan with the Ikkur is not mitzvah number 10, mitzvah number 15, mitzvah number 421. Because the Yevanim understood that you can let a Jew go. You can let a Jew go alila regel. You let him go up to Yerushalayim. What's the difference? He's not going to feel any connection to God. You can let him put on tefillin. He'll be half asleep. You can let him keep Shabbos. He'll be reading the Wall Street Journal on the couch after benching. Listen, why? Why? Because the Yevanim understood that the koyach hashor, the koyach of a yid, is his kedusha. And when you sap him of that energy of Yosef HaTzadik, Shabbos is not Shabbos, davening is not davening, Halila Regel is a tour. It's not Dveikus B'Hashem. Because Dveikus B'Hashem can't be without Yosef HaTzadik. So, it's the need of Yesod. And without Yesod, there can't be Dveikus. There can't be Dveikus. Not with women, it's a different sugi. But L'inyaneinu. When you're living, at least working on Yosef HaTzadik, perfection, that's not. When you're working on Yosef HaTzadik, with all of the aliyas and yeridas, when you're working on Yosef HaTzadik, then you're able to have times of ta'amu uruki toiv Hashem, kirvis elokim li toiv. You're able to taste the sweetness of Yiddishkeit. You're able to taste the sweetness of life. That's why the midah of Yisod is we'll see it in a minute on the next page, is the midah of being alive. Od Yosef Chai. Od Yosef b'ni Chai. Chai, to be alive. Is Yosef HaTzadik. To be alive, to feel alive. Tamu is hamasikus sheyesh b'avodas Hashem. And when you're alive, then you could taste. Then you could taste the taste of avodas Hashem. Davening has a taste. Shabbos has a taste. Everything. Hamasikus shel v'ani kirvus elokim litov. L'fi erach midas hakedusha shelo. According to the midah of kedusha in a person, ba'oisa midah shemas gabra al masikus acheres. To the degree that a person is able to be misgaber, to overcome the masikus acheres, the alternate sweetness that the wife of Potiphar is offering you. Because there's the wife of Potiphar, and the wife of Potiphar says, this is something very sweet, you can enjoy this. So to the degree that a person is able to overcome that masikus that Yavan offers, which is very powerful, whatever the levush is of Eshes Potiphar in your life at that time, to the degree that you're able to fight against that and overcome that proposed taste of the sweetness of the wife of Potiphar, masikus asura, umasikus mugushemes. That's a masikus that's awesome. That's forbidden sweetness. The masikus of Eshes Potiphar, it's masikus mugushemes. It's a trust, physical masikus. To the degree that you're able to fight against that and to overcome that seduction of the wife of Potiphar, that masikus of Olam Hazeh, whether it's an Isser or something which is mutter, but to overcome that, Kain Zoichel Litdoim and HaMasikus Kitov Hashem. Then you'll be able to be Zoichel to the masikus of Tamu Kitov Hashem. Kitov Hashem. That this is good. That Yiddishkeit is good. Kitov Hashem. From where is the bitterness and the malice of all of the young men? You don't see it so much by the girls. The girls, for the most part, seem to be enjoying their Yiddishkeit. There are exceptions. Again, I'm not going to the opinion of what is it with a girl in this avodah. That's something that's not for now. But it's a private joke. But to understand the bitterness that Yiddishkeit has in the mouths of so many guys, especially the Bachar. Because once you're married, so then already there's Taras Mishpacha, and things oftentimes are getting on track. But for that guy, that Bachar, Bar Mitzvah, now it starts earlier, Bar Mitzvah to Chasana, in the Wild West, and he's trying to fight against the Benos Potiphar. They never told us about that. They never told us about that institution. And he's trying to fight against the Benos Potiphar. So, and there are times that he's nichshel, and he doesn't know. He can't talk to his rebbeim about it. He just heard that it's the most horrible aveira in the world, and he feels disgusting. He feels low. So the learning doesn't have a taste. You see it on their faces. Look at them. You look at the dead eyes on so many of the guys. Their eyes are dead. Just look at them. There's once in Bells by the Shalom Susi Elena that there are like 1,000 people Shabbos and Shul by the Shalom, and all of a sudden there's this. It's a hard story. All of a sudden the Shalom from Bells runs to the back of the shul, and he puts his arm around the Jew in the back of the shul, and he walks him out from the shul, and he says, "Please don't stay in the shul." That's not a typical Hasidic story. Chassidim is supposed to be welcoming everybody in shul. I mean, all Jews are. And the Belz Rebbe walks this guy out. So everybody was very surprised by that. He ran all the way to the back of the shul to get this guy. And, in a nice way, but basically, get out of here. And after that, a few of the Zakanim came over to ask the Belz Rebbe, my height, what was that? They thought that maybe the Rebbe, the Ruach HaKodesh, he saw this guy's mastering or has kind of terrible Russia or something. And the Belz Rebbe said, there was a fire of L'chadaidi in shul, and the whole shul was in a place. The whole Beis HaMedrash was on fire with with a chadai with Shalom, and the Yesida was standing like a piece of ice in the back of the shul. I could not allow him to cool off anybody else. That's what he said. I didn't yell at him. I put my arm around him. Vakasha, go someplace else. Go home. This is not a time for coldness over here. No ice allowed. From where does the ice, that coldness that you see in so many of the chavra, so many of the bachim, you see that. The way that they walk, and the way that they talk, and the way that they stand the day and night, and that they don't have any koch. Because the koch of a Jew is koch hashar. And the shor, and the keren, and the pride, and the good feelings that a Jew has, a male has, is when he's at least in the parasha of Yosef HaTzadik. Then his Yiddishkeit could have a good taste. Not always, because again there are ups and downs, but he's in the parasha. A good taste. L'fi erech midas hakadusha shalai, ba'isa midas gabriya, kein zayich l'utamas misikus kitav Hashem ru'u es behirus Emunah tamu u'ru'u, and he could see then his Emunah is something which is then clear to him. These guys are not lacking in Emunah. They're maminim b'nei maminim. It's just that the Emunah is blackened by Yavan. They don't see the Emunah inside of themselves. It's darkened because of that stain that they feel in their lives. They can't see the Emunah that's inside of them. The truth is that a Jew should be able to lift up his eyes. Doesn't mean physically, but it means to lift up his eyes from the filth of this world. And only when you lift up your eyes from the filth of this world, then you're able to see in the clearest way. But if your eyes are glued to the phone, if your eyes are glued to Eishes Potifera, then you don't see. Hashem is standing right in front of you. Like by Shul Shus, we talked about that yesterday. It's mamish all there. It's right in front of you. That's what we're talking about by Shul Shus. We're learning that Torah of the Ishbitzer. It's mamish in front of your eyes. Like Rabbi Nachman once gave a marshal that if a person can be standing in front of a mountain, but you have a big coin on your nose, you don't see the mountain. He was talking about the type of mammon, of money. So you could be standing you could be standing next to Mount Everest, but if you have something on your nose, you don't see Mount Everest. So it says but if you're able to lift your eyes up, then uru you'll see. So that means tamu uru kitay Hashem. Shalafi erech midas hakdusha sheyidudi kach page ayin kachu zoichel behirus Emunah. According to the midah of Yesod, which is Yosef HaTzadik, a person will be able to experience Malchus, which is Emunah, which is David HaMelech. Malchus is Emunah. Yesod is Kedushas HaBris. Emunah is Malchus, is David HaMelech. It's Mashiach. That's Emunah. Vadla Darga, that's why this generation before Mashiach, we're now like the Ekev of Mashiach Tzidkenu Mamish. That's why the biggest avoda of the generation before Mashiach comes is the avoda of Shmiras HaBris, of Kedushas HaBris, of Yosef HaTzadik. It's the biggest. That's Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David. That's the avoda now, and that's why all the things with the technology and all the crazy things that are going on, all of the ikanis and this inyan Yosef HaTzadik. Therefore, that wonderful, well-intentioned Rebbe who's screaming at his class for the 10,000th time that if only you would learn more, then you would be doing better. And it's not reaching them. It's not because they wouldn't like to learn. Everybody loves learning. Torah is the most beautiful thing. And the Rebbe is saying, you learn more, and you'll be fine. And of course, learning Torah is the Samach Chaim, is the best thing in the world for us is to learn Torah. But if this boy has Eishes Potifar sitting on his nose, and all the memories of the things and all the images that he's seen, and the taivas that he's struggling with, So then how do you want him to see the beauty of a Tosfos? And he's not seeing the beauty of Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Now, the ones that are more intellectually inclined might enjoy just the seichel of the sichlis of it, but to see Elokus in a piece of Torah, and to be excited about the learning. That's why when you get the boys a little bit away from the home turf, and you get them a little bit out of that bilbil that they were in those years, and you take them away someplace, and they're able to have a little bit of outside of the craziness, at least that the girl from the block or the girl from this or that, and they're able to get out a little bit from that. So then, they begin to taste the masikas of learning. What? Because the Rebbe, they gives a better shir than the Rebbe in New York. The Rebbe in New York are wonderful. The Rebbe in New York didn't say a good Gemara. The Rebbe said a fantastic shir. He's a good guy. The Rebbe said a good shir in the yeshiva. Then all of a sudden the guy goes to, he's in Eretz Yisrael, he's in the yeshiva, and he decided now he wants to finish Shas next year. Why, his Rebbe in Yerushalayim is so much better? No. They're all good. They're fine Rebbe. He said a good block Gemara. He said a good block Gemara. That's not it. The reason that the Rebbe in Yerushalayim is reaching the kid is because at least to some degree the wife of Potiphar was wrenched off the guy's nose. For the first time since he's 11 years old or 12 years old, he's able to think or to breathe, which is getting harder and harder in Yerushalayim, because now with the phones it's harder in Yerushalayim too. And the Rebbeim will tell you, the ones in Yerushalayim say that will tell you now, not just Yerushalayim, I mean in Eretz Yisrael, the Rebbeim will tell you that they're having a very hard time reaching the guys. Because it used to be that when I went to Eretz Yisrael, or many of you went to Eretz Yisrael years ago, that it was like pretty much, like you were away. You were like free from this stuff back, the stuff back home. You were away. But if you have the phone, then New York is with you in Yerushalayim. It's the same. What's the difference? They were living on the thing when they were here, and they live on the thing when they're there. And the Rebbeim are struggling. They tell me, all the Rebbeim are telling me that they're having such a hard time now. That it's so different than a few years ago when a bacher would come, and he would take time off. He was done. It would be finished. Like we have a 3-day yontiv, so they had a 10-month yontiv away from this stuff, away from the. It would be a gewaldige thing if they would be able to make it tonight. They can't make it tonight, but if they would make it tonight, the only way we accept you to yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael is if you don't bring any phone with you. There would be no phones. Huh?
The girls have that.
The girls have that? Yeah.
The smartphones.
Oh, no smartphones, right? They're able to just flip phone, regular phones. The boys don't have such a thing. Huh? But they have 3 other phones.
Some of the boys do, yeah. A lot of the boys figure it out.
It's very hard to keep up with them. Because if somebody's determined, you have to be a guy that already that's chalishing to get out of that union of the phone, and then it makes it easier for you. So I guess the yeshivas will, they'll help you, whatever. But if you just, if you want to keep up with what's happening back in New York and all this stuff on the phone, so you just get a second phone, whatever. I know, Ellie, you just came from Asia, so what's going on with the guys over there? Huh? I'm not talking about your buddies. I'm talking about what's the massive. What do you see is going on? What's going on with the phones with the guys?
Well, it depends on the yeshiva. My yeshiva, everyone has iPhones.
Everyone has?
iPhones. Like smartphones.
Smartphones, yeah.
So, it depends on the kids. Some kids are in bed all day, watching Netflix or whatever. Some kids decide to get flip phones. So it really depends on the guy, but...
Do the guys talk about it with the Rebbeim? Is it part?
Yeah. My yeshiva specifically.
Okay, good. They're talking about it.
Yeah.
But there's no official policy, no iPhone.
No, but they do programs and stuff.
They have a program.
Incentivize.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
That's good. But you see some of the guys that they're struggling.
Yeah, definitely. A lot.
When I was in Shiva, there was there was always a guy that had to go to find, went to a payphone 3 blocks away at 11 o'clock at night with a bag of asimonim, you know what I mean? To call some girl, but it was a real mysterious nefesh. It was something. You really had to, it was an avoided to do that, You would hear him anyway in yeshiva banging the phone because asimonim kept going crazy, going in too fast, and you see him trying to do something to the phone or trying to tie a string up to the hole in the middle. See what we can do to keep the Asimon alive. But now, Mayasa ben V'leach. And what would happen if there would be such a tonight? It would be so. It would be like. So you're saying girls? There are girls' schools that do have such a thing. Because they can't have bichlal. I'm sure there's some boy yeshivas that also have. But bichlal cannot have those. You are not allowed in this place with an iPhone. Like in a lot of the camps have that, don't they? The summer camps, even here, no iPhones. I don't know how does.
Girls' schools you can't text either.
Yeah.
For kosher schools you can't even text.
Those phones don't have texting.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the girls could deal with that. I mean, not everybody. The girls could deal with that, but the boys it might be exerted. They can't. They wouldn't be able to deal with. How does it work in camp with the iPhones? Like what goes on in camp?
So the latest thing that they're doing is everybody turns them in, and then for an hour a day.
Is it about the girls or about the guys?
They do it by boys also.
They're doing it by the boys.
Yeah.
That you turn
They
them.
find that when they try to take them away completely, that people break the system somehow. But when they turn them all in, and then they give them to them for, let's say, whatever, during their break time for an hour. And at least it's a controlled time during the day. That most kids, 98% of the kids, will turn them in, and then they'll use them for just an hour. I don't know if it's an hour, but for a break, give it back.
Okay.
They're trying to encourage them to make the right choice rather than just everybody handed in.
Yeah, I understand that. That's some of the yeshivas now are doing that, and to try to talk to them and to encourage them and to work with the parents and so on. It's a healthier mahalach to try to talk and to work with them, to give them a little bit of
The
time.
goal is that this gives them an aspect of choice. In other words, because they're making a choice. I'm turning it in, knowing that I'll have it for a period of time.
So they could deal with that.
Yeah.
But if you would say no, if you would say you can't come at all to
Then
camp,
we find
they,
that most kids
they wouldn't
don't
come.
turn them in. They
They-
turn in fake phones.
Fake phones.
And they'll even have service on them. When I say fake now, fake with service on them. And it's amazing.
Yeah,
And that's by boys and girls.
boys and girls. The girls spend most of the time schmoozing and stuff.
Yeah.
The guys, it's other stuff. That's not
Yeah.
just schmoozing. So it's a hard bunch. It's very, very hard. And here they're going to camp. You just want them to have a good time.
Right.
Just to have a good time, like to be happy, to be a kid, to play ball, to learn a little bit, to have chevra. Yeah, they have that time where they. This generation, these kids already grew up with this. They never saw anything else, and they see with their parents. The schools tell me that the main problem they're having with the parents, the kids, a lot of the kids feel very relieved when there's some regulation. The parents, that comes with the parents. It's hard. But to be a Rebbe nowadays in yeshiva, to try to reach the guys. And Bechlal, it's not just a matter of them learning. It's guys look. So many of them look so depressed, just depressed, empty and sabrach, and walking around. You see the look on a kid. There's no chiyas to it. It takes away the Koach Hashem. It takes away the Yosef HaTzadik. Without Yosef HaTzadik, you're not alive. And you have to, and in order to come to Dov Melch Shal Chai V'Kayim, there has to be a Yosef HaTzadik. That's the Yisod in his Malchus. V'ad l'darge shom Chazal kol haroyed dvar erva v'eino zon einav mimena zoichel hakba pnei shchina. We spoke about this a couple of years ago. The Medrash says that if a person sees something that he shouldn't look at, he sees it for a second, but eino zon einav mimena, he doesn't fill his eyes with it. He saw it for a second, but then he tries to turn away. Zoichel hakba pnei shchina. It's a fascinating chazal because it doesn't say kol mi sheloi roya erva. Whoever doesn't see any erva. It says kol haroya dvar erva. You see something, But ve'eno zon einav mimena. You don't let it get onto your nose. You try to fight against it. That person ready for that is zoiche lahakbel pnei Shechina. Then those eyes will be zoiche to see the pnei Shechina. But it's not only talking about to see the Shechina when Mashiach comes. It means right now. If you're a person that's fighting the fight of Yosef HaTzadik, and you ain't no zon ain't no mimena, you're zoiche to see the Shechina in your learning, in your Shabbos, in your davening, in your marriage, in your home. You're zoiche to see pnei Shechina. Here, now, not just at Mashiach or 120, even now, you're zoiche to see it. My timer, because it says in Pasuk, if you close your eyes, not to see this, I mean, you saw a little bit, but you close your eyes, you tried to get away, because Yosef saw Eshes Potiphar, but then he went away. So if you close your eyes now, you're fighting. You close your eyes, Maksiv Basrei, what does it say afterwards in Pasuk? Melech b'yofyo techazanei necha. Then your eyes will be able to see the beauty of the king. You'll be able to see Pnei Shechina. But the eyes that are being filled with ugliness, those eyes, it's not that the person is being punished. When your eyes are looking day and night at ugliness, you don't see the beauty of the king. You don't see the beauty of the Gemara. You don't see the beauty of the Siddur. You don't see the beauty of Shabbos. You don't even see your wife's, how beautiful your wife is. You don't see the beauty of the world. That's what's happening now. You don't even see how beautiful it is, a sunrise or a sunset or a tree. Because you're in such a place of choshech, of yafan, of grease, that you don't see anything. You can't see other beauty. When it says in Pasuk, Melech b'yofyo techazanei, to see the beauty of Hashem, to see how beautiful the king is. So you tell the guy, learn more and keep this and do that and Shabbos and mitzvahs and everything. And in the meantime, the kid's got all this other stuff going on in his life. And you don't understand. How come he's not seeing the beauty of... how come he doesn't see how beautiful it is to learn? How come this kid doesn't see how beautiful Shabbos is? He doesn't want to go to shul. Doesn't want to get up, doesn't want to daven. How come he doesn't see how beautiful it is to put on tefillin, to keep a mitzvah? He doesn't see how beautiful tefillin. You don't see how beautiful a tefillin is? The kid looks at you like you're out of your mind. Like tefillin are beautiful. Give me a break. You're not excited to get to shul. You go talk to the kid. It's 8:25 or something. Shabbos morning. Get up. And he's leave me alone. Aren't you excited? You have such a bal tefillah today. The kid like what? Yeah, got a great bal tefillah. For Shachris having a big bal tefillah. You don't want to come. The Koishi, if you make him a special place, his own minyan, you make him a special place, and if there are going to be girls there, then that'll be a draw. If not, you can't have girls there, so then at least some kiddush, maybe come a little bit. Again, I'm not talking about the whole. I'm saying a lot of the chavim. If there'll be a kiddush, maybe, or at least he could schmooze a little bit with his friends outside or something. Catch up and hang out with the guys. But if you tell him, I don't understand, Matoivu doesn't work for you. But then the guy will he'll point to the shul, to the adults when Matoivu is being said, and it's 75%, 80% empty. No, I'm exaggerating. 75, 80% empty the shul by Matoivu. It's an interesting thing. Friday, when I come to shul, they have girls, this place is packed with girls. Girls! Half hour before Kabbalah Shabbos, they're already here, vying for a position. Girls. Where are the boys? Oh, Hashem, there are. I'm not saying there are. So the girls, it's very sweet. Honestly, it's not kind of you understand? She doesn't have the wife of Potiphar, and she's not particularly the way that they work is that most of them are not thinking about Yosef HaTzadik the way the guys think about Eshes Potiphar. You understand? So the girls are all into davening. She's supposed to marry one of the guys that's not. That's the shidduch, right? How's that supposed to work? Again, I'm not saying the yotzim and aklal. I'm saying it's a big generalization. But the boys, for the most part, are not going to be clamoring to get their place for Kabbalah Shabbos. Now, the guys sometimes, after they're in Eretz Yisrael or something, they spend some time, start to catch on. Baruch Hashem, many of the guys that it becomes very, very, very important to them to daven. It's great. But the parents of boys know that to a large extent we're just like trying to hope that they'll survive until they get there, so, and then maybe there, Kulei Hai, something will happen, just to survive and get through these years. There are the exceptions, but to get through these years, what's the problem? Not always, but Ruba, the problem is this Zechaser, this Inyan. And even if it's the most wonderful, beautiful boy that he was nichshel, he's not good. He was nichshel once. I remember that there was many, many years ago in the mountains, there was a Chassid Shabarcha where we were for the summer. There was a Chassid Shabarcha that I was learning with the Bachrim there and with the men. And there was a Bacher, Chassid Shabarcha. And he fell into something, like he was just depressed, he wasn't functioning. And he wasn't getting up. And it got so bad that they didn't know what to do with him. And is everything okay? Is everything okay? It's the nicest parents. Everything's. And I went for a walk with this Bach, and I was talking to him. And because I asked, come for me for a walk. I'm not going to learn with you. I'm not going to talk in any Torah. I just want to take a walk. I'm not to learn. I'm not going to learn. Let's just walk together. I remember exactly where we were. Outside the bungalow colony, we were walking. And I turned to him and I said, his name is Arla, and I said, Arla, I'm not going to tell your parents, I'm telling you. Sevish uns, talk to him in your own Lashon, between us. What happened? And I'm not going to talk to you about it, just tell me what happened. He threw himself on me, he was sobbing, and I was holding him. I was scared, I'm standing there with him, and he's sobbing. And then he told me that he has this is a mice of over 40 years ago. He told me that he has a friend. He always had that friend. He has a friend that took him, went someplace, and this friend had some pictures from a magazine. And he said that he saw some pictures. So I said, did you take these pictures? Have you looked at any of these pictures since then? So he said to me, Chalila. I looked, I saw. And this, he can't get up in the morning. He was completely broken and devastated. Because he was raised in a very, very pure way. And he saw himself as being, he thought of himself as being the biggest Rosh in the world. And I spent a lot of time with him afterwards, talking, and then after that, you looked once, and to get over it, and how to go right, and so on. But this boy wasn't in the habit of doing bad things. Well, he was nichshel, and not only that, his father he was not. He was very upset, and he said he was disgusted by it. He says disgusted. He was disgusted. But he said, I can't look in the Gemara now. I can't look in the Gemara. He said, how can my eyes look in the Gemara? I saw that. I said, you didn't look at it. The guy showed it to you. You're not. I'm arguing with him. He said, I saw it, Rabbi. I saw it. He can't look in the Gemara. Then nowadays, this guy would already be the Rosh Kol B'nai Agoyla. Baruch Hashem, he's doing very well. He has a family. He's doing very well. But he felt You can't look in the Gemara. He didn't want to go daven anymore. He said, how am I supposed to look at Ashrei? After what I saw. So even though this boy was not indulging in anything. He had a mice that happened. So achas kama v'kama, what's going on? And the things that the average bacher has already seen in Tavshin Pei, what they're being exposed to. So then you expect them to what? To get to the end of the pasuk, Melech b'yoyfei techazene einecha, that they should be able to see the beauty of the king. They don't look at themselves as being worthy of looking at the king's beauty. It's not because they have svekis and emunah. They can't look at it. They feel that they can't look at it. And then if that doesn't stop and it continues on, and the guy's married, and Chalila, he's lost in things that are not good even when he's married, then he can't look at his wife, he can't look at his children. Not because he's not good, it's because he's good. It's because he's good, and he can't bear the fact that he's not Yosef HaTzadik. It's killing him. It's because he's good. Just like that Arla was so good. It's because he's so good. The other guy that was showing me the pictures, he probably is steiging, He's probably sitting with his chavrusa. But Arla couldn't learn. The guy with the pictures probably is learning. But Arla wasn't learning. Because why? He's a sensitive soul. That's why you see the ones, many of them that are totally off, not keeping things. If you know a little bit about this, many of that chevra are the most sensitive chevra. Are very sensitive. And emistic, and therefore they feel like I'm not going to live a lie. I can't. The same eyes that saw Eshes Potiphar is not going to look into Bava Kama. The other guys, no. It's not right now. It's not Eshes Potiphar time. That's later on. Right now is Gemara time. So I'll learn the Gemara. Make my parents happy. Make my Rebbe happy. I'll learn the Gemara. But the Aralas of the world, they can't navigate those two worlds. It kills them. So if you try to understand women clamoring for Devarim Shebekdusha and for Shiurim and for this and for that and like the boy standing, in the back of the room and you can't pull him in. Again, there are many bachim that are on fire with Yiddishkeit, on fire with learning Chazdesh. Either because they're misgaber and they're fighting the war of Yosef HaTzadik, or they're dividing their lives into different parts, which is not uncommon. There's my part of Kedusha, and there's that other part, which we don't talk about, I don't think about, it's just that other part of my life. But the girls don't have to live double lives, for the most part. The girls are happy. It's like, again, there are exceptions, but for the most part, the girls are happy. Because they're not living divided lives. Just a nice Jewish girl. That doesn't mean she doesn't occasionally have this or that, but for the most part, it's not broken into pieces. The boys are like puzzles. You look at a boy nowadays, it's like, 1,000 pieces. And then the therapists, if they get a shot at it, or the rebellion, the parents are trying to figure out how to put this. You look at the picture of him when he was bar mitzvah, and you're trying to put the pieces together. And you don't understand what happened to that beautiful bar mitzvah bar. Like, how did this happen? That all the pieces were all over the floor. How come he doesn't have any energy? I first heard this around 25 years ago. This lashon from a bacher. It wasn't succeeding. The lesson he told me was have low energy. So, like, why don't you have some Wheaties? You know what that is? Like, the cereal of champions, breakfast of champions. What do you mean you have low energy? Low energy. That's a code word. Low energy. Low energy. What does that mean, low energy? You're 16 years old. What do you mean you're healthy? You could run around the block 20 times. I'm having a hard time with the stairs. What do you mean you have? What do you mean you have low energy? Guys got plenty of energy. Yeah, low energy. You ever hear that lashon? Low energy. It means pagam habris. That's what it means. Low energy equals pagam habris. Not every time. Like 99%. Low energy equals pagam habris. Again, whatever the madreg is, I'm not saying he's a bad kid. He's a fantastic kid. Whatever it is in his life, that's pagam, whatever that is. Could be like Arla. One time he saw a picture. Well, but the result of that is that he doesn't have the koach hashar. So it turns out that the Yivanim are not stupid at all, and therefore we'll finish the piece next week. That's why they understood that if you're not going to be in the parsha of Yosef HaTzadik, then you lose that feeling of having a chelik belokei Yisrael. You might be learning, you might be davening, you might sit in a sukkah on sukkahs, you listen to the shofar Hashanah, but you don't have a chelik belokei Yisrael. You lose your chelik. You don't have, not that you're being punished, God forbid, but you don't feel that you have a chelik belokei Yisrael. That's what's going on. They don't feel that they have a chelik belokei Yisrael. And then you make a shidduch with a girl, and she has a chelik belokei Yisrael. She's like this happy girl. She has a chelik belokei Yisrael. She's walking around carrying like a svasemis or something. These girls. And you get and then like all their resumes, top girl, fantastic, tznius, running 25 chesed programs, goes every Shabbos to the nursing home, but the guy turned over around 11 o'clock this morning. If it would be true, turned over 11 o'clock this morning. All right, and the girl's mother says, take it. He turned over. So Madrega. Turned over. The other guy didn't turn over. This guy turned over. It's Madrega. Where does this happen? There's no koach.